Hi, so this is an automation that looks at handling customer inquiries, leads, that top of the sales funnel stuff. And it's one of three automation scenarios I'm going to take you through, not in this particular one, but look out for the other two if you're interested. Now, of course, handling prospects and inquiries is currently or will become most likely one of the most popular types of AI automations because it's relevant for all sizes of businesses. If you're a one-man band, or even if you're a big company with hundreds of employees, getting those customers through the door, getting them into your process, onboarding them is the thing that turns the wheels of business. But for a lot of businesses, especially small ones, it can be a lot of work, a lot of manual hours, and of course, if you miss any kind of prospect inquiry because you're busy, or it gets lost in the massive spam emails or business emails you get, then that's obviously the lost revenue for the company. Now, I've just started doing these types of automations. I tend to go on a bit, so I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. But this first automation I'd like to show you is inquiries through forms. That could be a type form, it could be a Google form, something that's a clickable link off a website, if you like, or off of a social post. And as you can see here, this is a type form. It comes off of a website. Now, this particular example I'm going to show you is for a music tuition studios based in east of England that I'm working with. They have a website, and you can see down here a contact us form. Now, this particular form access can be through many different things, but it essentially takes you to a type form which collects a certain amount of information about the prospect, but it also gives the prospect the chance to ask questions about the business. And most businesses, the customer inquiries, their prospect inquiries, are going to ask the same sorts of questions, and that can be handled in one or two ways. First of all, it can be handled within a general GPT prompt, or you can have it through a custom assistant, and I'll come on to that in a moment. But just to go through this particular automation quickly, you can see here that we're watching for new inquiries coming in through that particular form. We add a sleep module just to save calling the API too quickly. And then we list those inquiries. So when they come in, it gets all the information that comes through that form, which are things like contact details, who's inquiring about, in this particular instance, music lessons, but it could be anything relevant to the business. The sort of thing that a business may need to onboard into their own flow. And then you have here a sheet which we added to. Now, this could also go into a CRM, but for the purposes of this example, it's a very simple Google sheet. And you can see here all of the different entries that come in, first name, surname, who are the lessons for, and then the questions that come in, and then the answers from the AI GPT response there. So that's something for the client to refer to. And then the most important part of this is the way that we address any questions that are asked. And as I mentioned earlier, being able to respond to an inquiry as quickly as possible is something that keeps prospects warm. What you don't want is, to be 2 days, 3 days, a week before you even get a response back from a business that you're reaching out to, because you'll either think that that's a poor reflection of the way they run business, or you'll just go on to someone else who can respond more quickly. So being able to respond really quickly is vitally important. Now, as I said earlier, you can set up a chat GPT and a custom prompt within that GPT that allows you to put in a bit of information about the way your business operates, or simply to provide a polite response. Hi, we've got your inquiry, and your details. Will reach out to you within the next 24 hours. Just even getting that kind of response is really handy. But in this situation, what I'm using is a customer system that's set up in OpenAI. And the reason for that is you can load it up with all sorts of information about the business. In this particular instance, how much are lessons? Are there taster lessons? Where are you located? What are your opening hours? That sort of thing. And having all of that information allows the GPT to come up with a really comprehensive response and give those instant answers. And then add on to it, would you like a taster lesson? Because you want to move that prospect down the inquiry funnel as quickly as possible, and let them know that you'll be reaching out to them. Now, this can be handled in lots of different ways, but for this particular client, we're just sort of getting their toes dipped into the water. It's about handling these inquiries and then reviewing them and then getting back to that prospect with a phone call. But having that email answer them immediately, and you can imagine within a music studio, they're conducting lessons all the day and they don't get to respond to inquiries immediately. But for someone to get a response within 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour is really good for the prospect inquiring, but also for the business, because they're keeping those leads warm. And so this particular assistant handles those inquiries, and we're going to show you what that looks like in a second. We then convert it to HTML. That's because I like the emails to be nicely laid out. And then the response, as I showed you earlier, gets added to the Google Sheet. So for this particular client, if they want to check out the response and just see how it looks, and not just rely on the email, then it's all there for them if they want to transfer that to a more sophisticated CRM. But for this particular client, a Google Sheet is absolutely fine. And then the final module is, of course, sending the email with the mappable answers in here. And this goes back to the client. They get a chance to review the response and then approve it or ask it to be rewritten again. I'm not going to show that in this email, but what I am going to do is show you the response. So I'm just going to run this automation now, and we're going to choose where it comes from, choose where to start, because I've already sent an email in through a lot of tests. I'm going to make this one here at the top. We're going to run this now, and that's going to go through. So that's look for the latest inquiries, a little bit of a break there. It's listing it, it's getting the information. That's now been, all of those inquiry forms have been added to the sheet. And now the main part, the assistant is reviewing those inputs in context and the instructions that's been given in order to formulate an email response that's going to go back to the client. Now, as I said earlier, if this was going straight to the prospect, you'd have in here probably a sleep module for 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, depending how much you wanted to give it a break so it made it seem authentic. But this is going to the client so that they can review it. I'm obviously part of that process. So if we hop over here now to the inquiry, you can see here, actually what I'll do first, which I omitted to show you, which is going to be helpful, is to show you the original inquiry. You can see down here, this is the questions that were asked from the Typeform inquiry. How much of the lessons? Is there a chance for a free trial or a tasted lesson? What sort of lesson times are available, as I can only really do weekends? And do you offer lunches? So that's the inquiry that's come in. And then if we look at the response, you can see here that the name of the person inquiring is in the top here. This is the link for the client to approve, but very quickly here in terms of addressing those questions, it lets them know a member of the team will be in touch in the next 24 hours, but there you go. So it's all in there as a comprehensive inquiry response, and they get that response back, within 10, 15 minutes, which is absolutely vital. So if you're interested in these kind of automations, I am Simon. I run a company called ABSAI, which is Automated Business Solutions AI, and inquiry handling is one of the most popular ones that we look at, but we do lots of other things. So stay tuned if you want to watch more videos on automations over the coming days and weeks.